So, should quality be banned? I know you referenced an article in your blog that talks about how people with disabilities and chronic illnesses can actually experience the greatest gains when it comes to improving health. And it kind of seems like there's a little bit of, not quite understanding how it could be used. What do you think about that?
Yes, the journal was in the American Medical Association journal, and they analysed this bill and they analysed the effects of it, and they obviously concluded very differently to the sponsors of the bill that actually QALY doesn't discriminate against people with chronic conditions, and in fact can help them. In a lot of ways, and they can actually see the biggest gains. And this really illustrates one of the issues with legislation, a bit like this, is that who's right? Well, I don't know because I'm not a doctor and I'm not a researcher. And in fact, neither are the legislators who are drafting the legislation, and yet they are disagreeing with the actual genuine experts at the American Medical Association. So there's an argument to be said that a very sweeping legislation of this kind that just bans something is not the way to go, because it's a very nuanced issue, and particularly with QALY, it's an algorithm effectively, which can be adjusted. So if you think it discriminates against people with disabilities, you've got to adjust the algorithm so that it doesn't. There's no real justification for just banning it completely. Another element in the legislation that's a bit problematic is that it doesn't just ban QALY, it bans QALY or any similar measure. And that or any similar measure could cover a multitude of different things. And the doctors and researchers in particular are worried that the interpretation of this would be to have a chilling effect on future medical research, so that researchers would simply not actually begin research if they thought that it might fall foul of this new law.
It seems to me like this is a bill that's a little bit short-sighted and it's not quite thinking through all of the implications of if it were to pass, what that would mean and what would take over. And, the healthcare system has finite resources. So these types of things, unfortunately, are part of our reality. But to just ban it with nothing, or similar measures similar to it without anything to kind of take its place. I think that you had a really good quote in your blog from Joshua Cohn, who's a senior contributor at Ford's, that I think is a really great way to end this. The quality isn't perfect, but no measure is. And let's be frank, we'll never have a measure that makes anyone happy. To ban the concept is to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's absolutely right, Sarah. And the important principle here is that we live in a society where we have an aging population, and older people need more healthcare. Healthcare is becoming ever more expensive, and we have fewer and fewer young people to actually pay for the healthcare that we need. So decisions have to be made. You need some basis to decide what treatment you're going to provide and what treatment you aren't going to provide in a world where resources are finite. And if you don't have measures like this that are at least sort of scientific and worked through, then it all becomes quite arbitrary, and all the funding goes to the sexy illnesses or diseases. And the actual illnesses and diseases that need the money might not get it.
That's an incredible point to end it on. This was such an interesting bill to look into. Do we have an issue voter bill for March?
We do, and in March, we're going far less controversial. We're going to talk about the Life at Conception Act, which seeks to
Oh,
redefine what it means to be a human being.
that sounds like an incredibly straightforward definition. I can't wait to hear more about it.